The committee is prepared to resort to compulsory process to obtain the compliance with our requests. If you do not give us our documents by July 2nd, there will be repercussions. Now, the requests come after the committee previously recovered over 100 files which were deleted by the Democrat Select Committee. Why did the Democrats delete 100 files? Why did Benny Thompson not recognize that he needed to preserve materials? Well, we know why, because it was fake. It was a cover-up. The whole thing was fictional. Trump prosecutor Tish Latish James in New York, who is very hungry for all of Trump's buildings, is now facing a threat from Congress. She better deliver some documents or else there will be a subpoena. And not just any subpoena, a congressional subpoena. And we'll see if she takes that and throws it in the trash or not, but it will be coming her way. And Congress is not just done with Tish. They're also questioning Alvin Bragg, and they also sent a bunch of subpoenas out to a bunch of different agencies that may or may not have January 6th related information, because we know that material was deleted thanks to Liz Cheney and Benny Thompson. So Bragg is also colluding with Google, the Alphabet company, and others. And so we're going to get a full breakdown of what's happening with these prosecutors. But Jim Jordan is digging into Latish James. Here's what the Hill reports. Says Jim Jordan is now threatening the New York Attorney General Tish with a subpoena over the hush money prosecutor known as Matthew Colangelo. Here's the story. In a letter to James last month, which we read here, Jordan demanded information about Matthew Colangelo, Biden's number 3 prosecutor who left his DOJ to go join Alvin Bragg for some stupid reason. An employee of Tish's, remember he was with Tish, then went to Biden, then went to Bragg. Before all of that, he was with Obama. Jordan has sent letters also to all of Colangelo's recent employers, so everybody that Colangelo's ever worked with, a group that includes the Justice Department along with Tish's office and Bragg's. Now, in both New York jobs, Colangelo worked on prosecutorial teams that went after Trump or one of his charities. Jordan said Mr. Colangelo's recent employment history demonstrates his obsession with investigating a person rather than a crime. And Tuesday's letter, the new one, asks for the same set of documents about Colangelo's employment, adding, though, Jim Jordan's like, all right, listen, I'm not playing around anymore. The committee is prepared to resort to compulsory process to obtain the compliance with our requests. If you do not give us our documents by July 2nd, there will be repercussions. Now, they reached James's office. He did not respond to comment. And Colangelo is actually scheduled to testify before the House Judiciary Committee with Alvin Bragg on July 12th. So coming up soon. And we're looking forward to that one. So mark your calendars. Trump is set to be sentenced the day prior to that after being found guilty on 34 counts. It'll be the first time that Congress has heard from any of the officials responsible for prosecuting Trump. Now, the new letter to James asks for a bulk of documents for Colangelo about Colangelo during his time in office. While working at the New York AG's office, Colangelo was part of a team who sued Trump's charity in 2018, saying it was using improper funds improperly. And during the tail end of the Trump administration, he was also involved in the probe into the Trump organization itself. And the probe, guess what, would later serve as the basis for James's fraud lawsuit against Trump. So the guy went from Obama's to Tish, from Tish to Biden, from Biden to Bragg, every time going after Trump. Colangelo left James's office for a high-ranking position at the DOJ, but then went back to New York to join Bragg. Got it. All right, so Tish now facing a subpoena threat. Give us the documents or else. And the DOJ's already responded to this, and they said, no. There is no improper communication between Matthew Colangelo and Alvin Bragg or Tish. We searched his emails. Oh, okay. So you're saying that you searched his DOJ emails? They said, yeah, we didn't find anything. So that's curious. So he would be using official government business to go find a new job? Or do you think he might be using his personal email to do that? Duh, probably his personal one. Did you look there? No, you didn't. So they turn around and tell us that, oh, we've done our due diligence and there's no conflict here at all. No, he's clearly a fair and impartial prosecutor. Okay. So that's Tish. Now let's see what's going on with Bragg, because he also got a letter. Now he's colluding with Google and apparently YouTube to censor a bunch of stuff. And so Jim Jordan is also digging into him. He demands that YouTube answer if firearms policy was influenced by Bragg, right? So now Bragg is putting pressure on YouTube for whatever reason. So Jim Jordan sent a letter over to them. We'll see what this is all about. But Jordan, acting in a capacity as the chairman of the judiciary, sent a letter to YouTube, the parent company called Alphabet, because they're going to now restrict content about firearms, essentially. They're going to restrict content showing the use of homemade firearms, automatic firearms, certain firearm accessories, and they're going to outright prohibit content showing how to remove safety devices. So if you're a firearms content creator or consumer, then you'll maybe notice some changes on the tubes. Recent reporting and other things say that Bragg, who brought the case against Trump, has been writing to YouTube expressing concerns about ghost guns and other things. Now, after YouTube's content moderation policy change, Bragg applauded the change and said he was very thrilled. Now, Jordan also noted in the letter that he had hired Colangelo to investigate this, calling it a conspiracy theory, and Jordan had previously revealed that he wants more information about records. So let's go into that letter and see what Jim Jordan actually was demanding, because this is going over to Google now. It references Alvin Bragg as the Trump prosecutor. So let's see. This gets sent over to the Googles regarding Alphabet. This is a law firm, looks like in Washington, D.C., on behalf of Google, receiving this from the Judiciary Committee, House of Representatives, Congress, Jim Jordan, chairman from Ohio, presiding. Says, Dear Google lawyer, the Committee on the Judiciary and the Select Subcommittee on the Weaponization of Government are now hereby conducting oversight on how the executive branch, like Joe Biden and people who are in the executive branch, like Alvin Bragg, use intermediaries to censor American speech. Now, Congress, that's us, says Jim Jordan, has an interest in protecting and advancing fundamental speech principles, and to develop legislation on this and to enact new laws to restrict big tech from doing this type of stuff. We need to understand how this all works and how executive branches colluded with companies and other intermediaries to censor speech. Now, as part of this oversight, after efforts to obtain the compliance of your client Google, saying to this lawyer, the committee issued a subpoena for the relevant documents. We sent a subpoena to Google and they responded. Now, the subpoena compels Alphabet to produce communications between Alphabet, the Google company, the YouTube company, and the executive branch, internal Alphabet communications discussing comms from the executive branch, and Alphabet communications with third parties in addition to other information. And also, in light of YouTube's recent announcement that it will be changing its content moderation policies on June 18th, that was yesterday, to further censor content related to firearms, is a constitutionally protected Second Amendment activity. And we write to remind Alphabet that the subpoena's obligation is continuing, and you may change your policy, but you still need to give us this info. Now, the committee and the Select Subcommittee oversight has shown how the federal government has coerced and colluded with technology companies to moderate content. In particular, the committee obtained documents showing how the federal government has pressured Alphabet and others to censor certain content, including content that did not violate YouTube's content moderation policies. Recent reporting and other publicly available information suggests that YouTube's decision to change its firearms policy may have been influenced by government officials who are putting pressure on them again. For example, Alvin Bragg, who hired the third highest ranking DOJ official, that's Colangelo, to assist in his partisan prosecution of Trump. Bragg wrote a letter to YouTube demanding that the platform revise its content moderation policies to further censor firearms-related content. And I guess we're also asking, is it only firearms content, or are they talking about other stuff too? Following YouTube's announcement, Bragg's office issued a press release applauding the new firearms content policy change, suggesting that it was in response to Bragg's demands. So Bragg says jump, YouTube says how high. Given that YouTube has censored First Amendment protected speech as a result of other government agencies' requests, like Elvis Chan back during the censorship of Hunter Biden's laptop and other things, and other demands in the past, these revelations raise serious concerns about whether and to what extent the executive branch is working with third parties and other intermediaries to coerce or to collude with YouTube to censor lawful speech regarding the Second Amendment and firearms and everything else. The committee's subpoena compels Alphabet to produce communications between Alphabet and other entities discussing content moderation, which includes comms between the executive branch and you. And so we write to inform you that documents about Alphabet's interaction with the executive branch and third parties are responsive to our subpoena. And so we ask that you take appropriate steps to give us this information about your communication on this matter. So accordingly, please begin producing all of our documents about your new firearm policy and get it back to us. As you know, the rules authorize us to investigate any issues related to the violation of civil liberties of the citizens of these United States, and censoring Americans' free speech rights to talk about a constitutionally protected right is a violation of those rights. Now, if you have any questions about this request, please let us know. Sincerely, your friend Jim Jordan, chairman of the Judiciary Committee. So it's not actually related to Trump, but it's kind of related. I mean, he mentions Alvin Bragg and Matthew Colangelo, and it feels to me like he's looking for an opening. He's trying to figure out, what's Alvin Bragg doing? Is this a Colangelo orchestrated thing? And give me some more materials. Let me see what else you're communicating. Who's involved in this? Give me your emails. So it feels a little bit, well, they might say like a fishing expedition, but I would call it lawful inquiry by Congress, because they can investigate whatever they want. Liz Cheney set the standard. So that is what is happening with Alvin Bragg. And now lastly, let's see what's happening with Barry Loudermilk. He sent out a bunch of January 6 subpoenas, and these have been with the purpose of trying to recover information that they have deleted. The story comes from Just the News, and here's the background. The chairman, Barry Loudermilk, representative from Georgia, he sent 15 requests to federal agencies on Wednesday asking for all documents that were previously turned over to the J6 committee. So J6 committee, let's say they send a letter over to some government bureaucracy A. Loudermilk's House Administration Subcommittee on Oversight has been investigating the response by various federal agencies and the Capitol Police, and the investigation of the Democrat J6 committee and its final report. The Select Committee on January 6 under Benny Thompson, says the statement, obtained numerous productions of records from federal agencies and the D.C. government during its investigation. However, only a fraction of these records were properly archived and handed over to the Republicans because they deleted them. Therefore, Congressman Loudermilk has no choice but to redo the work. We got to do it again, reads the statement. Now, the requests come after the committee previously recovered over 100 files which were deleted by the Democrat Select Committee. Why did the Democrats delete 100 files before the GOP took over the House? The files were recovered by digital forensics teams hired by Loudermilk when the subcommittee realized that a terabyte of data was missing from the committee report. Loudermilk was also telling Just the News last year that taped interviews of key witnesses were missing. They also deleted the actual interviews. The Democrat who led the J6 committee, Benny Thompson, said, no, we didn't need to preserve those. By requesting these records directly from the federal agencies, which should still have records, Chairman Loudermilk is working to specifically determine how many documents were not properly archived in order to conduct a full investigation and publish the truth about what's happening, said the press release. So it's really good stuff, and I'm really glad that he is doing that because it's important to see where's the gap. Why did they delete over 100 files? Why did Benny Thompson not recognize that he needed to preserve materials? Well, we know why, because it was fake. It was a cover-up. The whole thing was fictional. So they just took what was useful to them and deleted the rest of it. But now we're starting to learn more about this. It's obvious, right? If it's an actual insurrection, if it's an actual attack on democracy, all the things, you don't need to make it up. It's evident on its face. We can just see it. But it's obviously fake, which is why they had to sell a fake propaganda story to us for weeks and weeks on end. So we're going to continue to cover this. These Trump prosecutors are on the wrong side of history, and their corruption and their malfeasance continues to be exposed because their arrogance is monstrous, and we're looking forward to seeing more exposed. We're going to do our part here to continue to cover that. Thank you for helping us in that journey by subscribing to our channel, sharing our content with a friend or family member so that they can also come back over here and enjoy the madness that we all have to go through together simultaneously with us here. Would love to see you back here on the next one.